Today, we're diving deep into the heart of India. We're on the hunt for a story about how local roots can grow into these massive national legends. We're looking for the hidden giants who helped shape a nation, and they all come from one often overlooked state. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so let me start by asking you a question. It's kind of like a puzzle. On the surface, you've got these three figures who couldn't be more different, right? A statesman, an artist, and a freedom fighter. What single thread could possibly connect all of them?
First up, you have Atal Bihari Vajpayee, a true political giant and, amazingly, a celebrated poet. He was the prime minister who decisively led India into the nuclear age. His influence was felt in pretty much every corner of the country.
Then, there's Lata Mangeshkar. Her voice. It became the literal soundtrack for an entire nation for more than half a century. It's just impossible to imagine Indian cinema without her.
And finally, Chandrasekhar Azad, a fierce revolutionary whose adopted name Azad, which means free, became his entire life's mission. What a powerful symbol in India's fight for independence.
So here it is, the answer that ties them all together. Every single one of them traces their origins back to one state, Madhya Pradesh. Vajpayee from Gwalior, Mangeshkar born in Indore, and Azad with deep ties to Jhabua. It just makes you wonder, right? How did this one region produce such a diverse and incredibly powerful group of national icons?
Okay, so to understand this, let's start by looking at how the nation itself was forged. And this isn't some recent story. The spirit of leadership and, rebellion in Madhya Pradesh runs deep, way back into its history.
You can see it right here. This resistance was a sustained fire, not just a flash in the pan. We see it way back in 1857 with leaders like Rani Avantibai Lodhi. It keeps going in the late 1800s with Tanti Abhil, who they called the Indian Robin Hood, using guerrilla tactics to help the poor. And all of that culminates in the 1920s and 30s with Chandrasekhar Azad using the region as his revolutionary base.
And, this incredible spirit wasn't just felt in battles, it was immortalized in words. Subhadra Kumari Chauhan, a poet and a freedom fighter herself from Jabalpur, wrote this iconic line. It roughly translates to, "How fiercely she fought, the Queen of Jhansi." Her words just captured the bravery of the rebellion and became a massive rallying cry for generations.
But this legacy of leadership didn't just stop with independence. No way. It evolved. You see figures like Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma from Bhopal rising all the way to the presidency. You have Vajpayee redefining India's standing in the world, and then you have state leaders like Arjun Singh and Digvijaya Singh creating policies on welfare and local government that ended up becoming national models.
And this slide right here, this perfectly illustrates our main point. You've got this grand national vision, and then you see its echo in action at the state level. Take Digvijaya Singh's Gram Swaraj. It basically took the big national idea of unity and empowerment and brought it all the way down to the village level, giving thousands of local councils real power. It shows how big ideas get tested and proven right there, on the ground. So now let's see how that same dynamic shaped the cultural soul of the nation.
Right, so if politics and revolution forge a nation's body, then it's the art and culture that create its soul. And when it comes to that, Madhya Pradesh's contribution is truly ancient and just profound.
Let's just travel way back in time for a second, to ancient Ujjain and the poet Kalidas, often called India's Shakespeare. In his work, Meghudutam, or The Cloud Messenger, he imagines a cloud carrying a lover's message across the entire subcontinent. What an image! It's a foundational piece of literature, born from this very region, that shows this incredibly deep connection to nature and emotion.
From poetry, we move to music. So powerful, it literally became the stuff of legend. Tansen, from Gwalior, was a jewel in Emperor Akbar's court, and the stories about him are just incredible. They say his singing could actually light lamps or summon rain. Now, while those might be myths, they tell you something about the immense power of his music, which gave birth to the hugely influential Gwalior school of classical music.
And that musical legacy continued into the modern era on a scale that is just mind-blowing. This number says it all, 30,000. That is not a typo. It's the estimated number of songs recorded by one woman, Lata Mangeshkar, who was born in Indore. Her voice didn't just entertain, it wove itself into the very fabric of modern Indian identity for decades.
So we've seen leaders and artists, but the state's influence doesn't stop there, not even close. Let's look at the thinkers, the innovators, and the athletes who continue to make their mark.
And this tradition of innovation has some seriously deep roots. 1,000 years ago, this region was already a center for knowledge. Raja Bhoj wasn't just a king, he was a polymath. He wrote a foundational text on architecture that's still studied today and even envisioned a university. That just highlights the long-standing tradition of intellectual curiosity here.
And today, that same spirit of excellence is alive and well on the sports field. And everything from archery and shooting to the national obsession of cricket, a whole new generation of champions from the state are competing and winning on the world stage, carrying that legacy of regional talent to national and international glory.
So, what does all of this add up to? Well, it brings us to the central takeaway of our entire explainer. Ultimately, it all boils down to this. A country isn't a monolith that's just defined by its capital city. Its true strength is like a mosaic, built from the unique art, the struggles, the leaders, and the ideas that come from every single one of its corners, just like we've seen with Madhya Pradesh.
This chart summarizes it perfectly. You can see the direct line from a figure from Madhya Pradesh to their national contribution. Whether it's leadership shaping foreign policy, a voice defining an industry, or poetry building a literary foundation, the impact from this one state has been undeniably nation-shaping.
And that brings us to our final thought. The story of Madhya Pradesh isn't just about Madhya Pradesh. It's a reminder that every town, every region has its own hidden giants whose stories contribute to a much larger narrative. So the question to leave you with is this: who are the giants from your corner of the world?